There we go. This meeting is ordered. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First order of business is to approve the special minutes from November 4th.
I'll make that motion.
Second, vote?
Yes.
Yes. Also looking for a motion to approve the regular session minutes of November the 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Second, vote?
Yes.
Yes. Public comment, Brookside,
Nothing new to report.
Worthington Hills.
Currently, it appears that they're not going to be having the slave ride. Because they can't get a hold of the company. You have the same company?
I don't know. We've used the same one for years. I'm not sure what.
It's not the, I think it matters.
Yeah,
But they're usually it's the day after Thanksgiving as they open the registration and it closes in 5 minutes because everybody signs up, but they don't want to do that without talking with the company, I guess. Makes sense, but anyway. And I think that was it, Mr. President.
Of Conor Rebello.
Anything, I know that we have a road report about the roads down there, but that's under the road department. So other than that, I think things are fine.
Zoning, nothing under zoning, down to, oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, this was kind of we received 9 applications in total for the zoning inspector position. Mary and I and John chose one person to interview, and it's we interviewed him today. I think it's going to be a really good fit. So just gotta get background checks taken care of and then work out for offer letters. So next meeting, I hope to have a request to hire a zoning officer on the agenda.
He works at Lowe's.
He does work with us.
That's important.
but he's gonna quit.
I'm at Lowe's quite often.
Yeah, he's not quite, but yeah, it just, we're actually very, very pleased with how we're reviewing it, so.
All right, anything else in our zone? Moving down to development.
You guys make these one.
Um,
No.
move, so this is the motion to approve the creation of the incentive district.
Yeah.
So this is the last step.
Very last time.
Okay. Is there a thing?
It should be right on the paper.
Okay, just read this word for word here.
Oh, and it's gonna be right by roll call.
Okay. I move to approve the creation of an incentive district and declaring the improvement of certain real property within the incentive district to be public to be a public purpose and exempt from real property tax, identifying certain public infrastructure improvements that once made will benefit or serve the parcels in the incentive district, requiring the owners of the parcels make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a public improvement tax increment equivalent fund, approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of tax increment finance agreement with Epcon Riverside LLC, Romanelli Hughes Building Company, and related authorizations by roll call vote.
Mr. English,
Yes.
Mr. Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. Roper.
Yes.
Road department.
Under new business, I request the board approve the license agreement to perform snow and ice removal down at Ravello.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I've updated, well, Mary's updated the spreadsheet for the generators. I've got 2 quotes for natural gas. The 80 kW to replace what we have, and 2 quotes for the diesel. Well, 3 quotes for diesel. I checked with Columbia Gas. our building, we do have enough pressure. Here at the address to supply a natural gas generator. We would have to possibly upgrade the meter in building two to handle the amount of pressure for natural gas. I did talk to them. I didn't get quotes for each building. When discussing it with them, they said we save money on the generator side, but we would pay a lot more for 3 installations. Building 1 and 3, they would have to rewire to limit it. Right now, it's wired to supply the whole building.
Which building is that?
Building 1 and 3, the police, the switches are wired to run the whole building.
Okay. And then question for you on the natural gas one, what's the maintenance, like yearly maintenance, like with diesel, you got issues with it, like, is there any issues with natural gas in terms of moving forward?
To be honest, I don't know a lot about natural gas. Everybody I've talked to likes it because the fuel supply is there. We don't have to worry about having it fueled if it's out.
Right.
Or rusting or.
Injector
that,
pumps
like
getting
injection,
full
yeah.
plug.
We would still have to do a maintenance contract to have them come in
Sure.
and
Start it up and whatever.
do
Okay.
a load test and all that on it. Just like our diesel.
What did you see what their warranties were? Is it
2-year warranty on at WW Williams and Quality for all units. Quality is offering an extended 5 years on both units.
It's, Quality has a better setup.
So I'm sorry, so quality is extended 5-year of
Of the 2 years.
1650,
Yes,
regardless of whether it was
Yeah.
diesel or gas. Is that right?
uh,
Am I reading that right?
the natural gas is 1250 extended. For the,
Oh, okay. For either the 130 kilowatt or the 80.
1250 and it's 1650 for the diesel.
So the gas, okay.
So just to add a couple things, we did a little research on, you reached out to Brian Engel.
I did reach out to Brian Eagle. He said our biggest loads here are our furnaces. No matter which way we go with facilities, he thinks the 80K would be plenty to run what we have.
okay?
And 130 is excessive.
Okay. So quality is at 67,712 for diesel, 57,636 for natural gas. And then we have the transfer switches regardless of what we do.
These,
Is it 11,100?
yes, for the transfer switches, yeah, that's through Quality. I asked for WW Williams to quote those and I never received the quotes for the transfer switches from them.
That's a code thing.
What's that?
That's a code thing. Switches.
The transfer switches that's in the buildings, right now they're the old dial up or dial timers and
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make sense to put the new stuff on.
So they're just obsolete.
the one, it's, I mean, they work right now, the transfer switches, if something goes wrong with them, it's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be hard to find parts for what we have. Or impossible to find parts.
And remind us, Ian, the lead time on delivery.
Natural gas, we're looking at 32 weeks with WW Williams. 30 to 36 is what I've been told at Quality. Diesel, we're looking at and almost a year at either place for diesel.
So it's less expensive and faster.
Less expensive in quality for the natural gas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I like that, I mean, this is, I like the thing that we don't get into, you know. Clogged injector pumps, having to deal with the diesel if it sits there for a time period. We, you know, it's constantly there and available, so we don't have to worry about shortages or whatever the world's gonna thrive. I mean, I'm leaning more toward, I mean, just from what I have, I'm leaning more towards the natural gas.
And I mean, you talked to Columbia Gas.
I've talked to Columbia Gas. I've got the ball rolling on that, to see if our meter would need to be, replaced.
Okay.
We've got a high pressure line that runs along Sawmill. It shows that we have pressure coming to the buildings. She just didn't know which meter. I have to supply them with every unit in our facility that's running natural gas and the pressure, so they can know what kind of meter is needed for the generator.
Okay.
We'd like to go with the natural gas.
Yeah, but we probably want to see where we land, on our, I mean, we're getting the current diesel fixed, right?
Yeah, it's already fixed.
It is
Yeah.
up and running right now.
So we're, this is something we can kind of. I just want to know where we're at on facilities, whether we're going new or renovation. So before we start. What do you
Well,
think?
Yeah,
But it,
Because
the
It
size.
should be the
is-
same unit though.
yeah, it's the
regardless.
same unit, but like, it's no sense like your switchgear. It's like, all of
Yeah,
a sudden, it's like you're
Yes, you're
blowing
saying-
up the building and you don't
Yeah.
have, like, your switchgear may not go where your switchgear is right now.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you got, you know,
well, the switches can be ordered, I think, at any time.
right,
I mean, the generator's what
Is the lead
needs to
time
get on, yeah.
issue.
well, I mean, here's, it's like. If you go with a 10,000, like, so just to kind of talk about, so Mike and I met. And we think that based on all the square footages and the needs, it would be a 10,000 square foot building. We could get 1 story, 10,000. That would mean that you would have a 10,000, but I would need a 4 or 5 bay. Shelter, because if you're basically taking all of these down, Iron still needs places to put his trucks and everything like that. So the idea would be then Iron and the road department would be in that metal, it's like a metal building with 1 bay, so they're 20-foot wide bays by however long we want to go. So we were assuming 50 foot deep, and I don't know if you want to go deeper or
I
what.
want to go deeper. I want to be able, with 5 bays, we're gonna need to. It would need to be at least 60 to double up a truck. In those bays, we're 28.5
Well,
with the plow. on.
so we're gonna look at that, so depending on how much room that takes up, so you're looking at, 50 by 100. If you want 1 bay for offices and that, and then you got 4 bays for trucks and everything like that. I mean, they're modular, so you could do 3, you could do 4, you could do 5, you could do as many as you want, but it's 20 by whatever, so. The front of the site would be 10. You would have this maintenance building as another building, and then parking and everything around it. The other thing that you're gonna have is we gotta figure in detention, and I'm waiting to hear back on how big of a detention pond we're gonna need. Then I'll have the site laid out, and Mike thinks he has enough, based on what he went through with chief and the planning work here, that he can actually lay out. He can give us an idea of what the layout's gonna look like on the inside. It's not gonna be refined, but enough to give us quantities and be able to price it and everything. I think what you're after. So, but because you're basically blowing up site, and then it's also gotta be phased, so, as you're building this building, what do you do, where's everybody gonna go and everything like that, so there's some phasing work that's gotta work as well. The only reason I bring it up and how this relates back to the generator thing is if we're going down the path of, you know, if numbers work out and you're looking at a new building and everything like that. Your location of your generators, you have no clue where it's gonna go or where it makes sense and how it's gonna service both buildings. So that's the only reason I'm sitting there saying, let's just pump brakes for the natural gas or the, I think the natural gas is the way to go. We gotta pump the brakes a little bit to make sure that we understand what route we're gonna go, because it'll be drastically different than what we have now.
Could we not,
You can use the generator, but you may not need a switchgear. You may not need to replace, you know, the service 3 buildings. You may just be servicing 2 buildings. Or one
well,
building.
I think our concern is, Andy, is that lead time. That's worrying us.
Well, you were originally looking at a year, now we're at 30 weeks, so, I mean. Can we get, I mean, it's not gonna take us,
Well, yeah, so if we're not pushing it off forever.
no,
Now, one thing we need to think about, these quotes are only good for 30 days,
okay,
so.
we'll have an answer within 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you wanna,
I just wanna pump brakes a
You
little
wanna-
bit, and then,
can we put this on the agenda? Second meeting in December?
yeah, go ahead and do it, we'll see where we're at in terms of numbers, but we're shooting for January. For to have all the plans and numbers and everything like that,
So, Ian, can you just ask them if they can honor the quote through the end of January?
Well, it says in the quotes.
I understand, but I mean.
I will tell them we will
it
be
puts
coming
certain
back.
quotes to Customers too.
Well, I'd like
To lock it
I'd like
in.
to hold that, to her point, I'd like to lock that price in. Cause I have I don't know what's happening tomorrow in some of these markets. I mean, they're. You know, in 2 weeks, they may go up on price, so.
I mean, if we're able to do it sooner, great. I'm just saying, if you can set the stage that maybe, you know.
just that we make
Right.
some facility, we'll just say, look, we're kind of looking at 2 different options to serve facilities. Can you hold it until January? You know, can you hold it
I'll
until
ask them, I'll
January?
email them.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
In the meantime, we gotta do some work with Columbia.
Yeah, I'll get all that.
Okay.
I'm filling that out. And then last thing on the agenda, well, it's not, leaf season, we're in a pretty good spot. We've picked up 230 loads as of today. Our average year, we get about 236 total. So next week, after Thanksgiving, will be our last week. Friday, I'm hoping to be able to run the complete route and drop the boxes.
Hey, Iron, are you still tracking on a spreadsheet? Like, we used to get like the updates and everything, like, hey, we did this many loads and everything,
So
so,
that'll be in my
Final.
December report.
okay, all right.
Go with the calendar.
Like this Friday's gonna be the last day?
No, next Friday, the second. We'll run all next week. Mary's gonna have an e-blast go out after Thanksgiving on Friday, saying that, you know, they have one more week to get out the leaves and. We're done.
Otherwise, call Mary and have her back from police for
On a related note, Ish, this is the last week for yard waste pickup. Are we sending?
We usually send out.
We usually send almost those 2 together in
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I sent something in our.
Otherwise,
Maybe
bag it,
we're-
go in your trash can.
Stack it at the curb until next spring.
Some people have done that.
One more thing, so there was some work on the Epcon streets,
Not
not work, but
work, we've been inspecting the curbs, there was some cracks that. I've met with Brian Daughtery from Epcon, we came to an agreement on what they're gonna fix, they're looking for a contractor right now.
it was substantial, right? I mean, in the sense of,
There are quite a few cracks, yes, in the curbs.
but this is part of our
It's part of the
Guaranteed
warranty. Yeah, that needs to be fixed before that.
We still have the bond in place.
Yeah.
Which will stay there until
And
it's satisfied.
EPCON is trying to satisfy this to get that bond released.
I'm gonna hold on police and go to, the administrator next.
Amy. Let's see, just a reminder, the employee health insurance meeting is gonna be December 2nd. Starting at 1, lunch and refreshments will be available to everybody. Are y'all coming? I know Chet, you are now. I'm just trying to get my food in order.
I'm sure.
Mary, is Jim coming?
We'll come.
Yeah, so
I'll check
don't-
his calendar.
Jamie or I will be here.
Do you have access to,
Okay.
his phone and everything?
We could talk about that when we finish the leaves.
And our township party will be December 16th. I have an initial order into the caterers with caterers again, which is delicious. But I will be asking for a fine-tuned head count in about a week for that, so I can place the final order. Going into new business, I'm going to request a motion to approve 3% wage increase for non-contract employees effective 1/1/2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Vote,
Yes.
yes.
A motion to approve the 2023 sick and vacation leave conversion policy. This is through OPERS.
I'll make that motion.
second,
Vote,
Yes.
yes.
Motion to approve the 2023 longevity conversion plan.
I'll make that motion.
second,
Vote,
yes.
yes.
Motion to approve the 2023 board trustee meeting calendar.
Make that motion.
Second,
Vote, yes.
Motion to approve the 2023 holiday calendar.
I will make that motion.
second,
Vote,
Yes.
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 We discussed this a while back and I still don't have, I don't think, Michelle, you don't have any specifics on our audit yet.
No, I
Right, we
don't. I
just
mean, I will
have the
tell you that
initial.
I signed the documentation to do an AUP. Not
Okay,
that we can't rescind it, but that was prior to there being a conversation about whether we
Yeah.
wanted to do a full.
yeah, they had said that it could be changed.
I
That's
understand.
what the
Yeah,
board
that's what I-
decided, so that's not a problem. But just if you could be thinking about which direction you'd care to go, keeping in mind facilities and loans and that sort of thing. I have a feeling that within the next month, they'll be asking us for all the detail so they can finalize this. Any questions about that at all? Okay, so the board approved Med Mutual for 2023. And as I said, our dental and vision is still in place. There's no new contracts coming up for that this year. But there was discussion and options so far as the wellness premium. I'm sorry, the premium employee part of the premium percentage, which is standing right now at 10%. That was moved from 5 to 10 in 2020. The other option would be to, we used to have a cap on the wellness amounts, but I've spoken with our union reps and the recommendation would be that if the board were to do that, to do it for new hires only. So I would see the FOP approving anything aside from new employees. So taking it back to just the employee portion of the premium, which I said right now is at 10%. Does anyone have any thoughts on where you would like to go? Or
What was
you'd
the
like to
FOP
do?
thought?
Hmm?
What was the FOP thought?
The FOP recommended that if there's increases, to do small increases up to the 20%, which as far as the board is allowed to take it according to contract.
I mean, with the increases going in, we still have a really phenomenal health insurance. I probably would think it's in the 15% range. It's not, it's gotta catch up, but not, I don't think we go to the full 20, but do it over an increment of a couple of years that, we probably need to get to 20. But, I think with, where things are at, probably a 5% increase. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts
I
on
think
that.
there's also the contract too, after this.
Is it, Steve, 2 more on the contract, correct?
Yes,
Before into 2024.
yes, end of 24.
You could do.
15, 17,
17,
25, and then up to 20.
I will tell you that the majority of townships are at and have been at 15%.
With no cap.
No cap, there would be no cap. I don't even see that being a possibility right now.
Are you asking with no cap in other townships, or are you asking about the fifth proposal of 15 here?
Well, if we do the 15, then we shouldn't have the cap.
Right,
So,
and you can also
even
understand
for
that,
new.
well, that's the board's decision, but there are, our township is one of the fortunate ones where we do have a wellness program,
Yeah.
and we do have we're in better situation than most
Right.
when it comes to employee benefits with this. I agree. I think 15% would be a reasonable.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I move that we increase the employee share for health coverage to 15%.
Second,
Well,
yes, vote, yes.
Yes.
Okay, water and sewer district. Check.
So I put this on here just to kind of give you a heads up that there's been some movement on the Summit View property. Part of it, the rail portion went into contract with no stipulations on zoning or water sewer services. I think that the person under contract or signed a contract is going to find that it's a little more difficult than they think. And so, but that was their choice to have no contingencies on the contract. The remaining portion, which is 16 acres, the property owner has inquired as to whether or not we could designate that as a water sewer district. And I have indicated that is within the power of the township to do. But there is work to be done, if that is the direction that the board would want to take. She does not want to return to Dublin. She does not want to have her property annexed, and she does not intend to sell.
What was our agreement with the city of Columbus on the parcel?
It's in the yellow area. It's basically, they did not want to politically get into an argument. First of all, it's in the Dublin's 208 plan, the property is. The city of Columbus did not want to take on one of their suburban partners. And so it was left as yellow, which was the current annexation policy.
I think the last time we looked at doing a water and sewer district, not, concept is fine, but they were talking about by the time we go through it and set it up and everything like that, we're looking at, I wanted to say it was 6 figures of legal fee and all that other stuff. And the only question I think for 16 acres, whether or not you're going to recoup that. Now, if we got some other properties that are in that would need that service, then I think, we gotta look at that, but. I just don't, depending on what they're gonna do with the 16. You gotta ask the question, what's the return on investment for us to say that, hey, we're gonna create a water and sewer district for this 16 acres and whether or not you're gonna have the return on investment of, township funds.
And you could incorporate the Henderson Road properties.
Yeah, I mean, I would say because we can create and add as much.
Right.
The question is, didn't Sharon create a water and sewer district? And can we add on to that and expand that and not have to
They
create?
would have to be willing to accept it and would. think there's a way to do it. We would be incorporating our property into their district. And then we would have to get them to agree to somehow have appropriate representation on the
Right.
board for
Right,
or equal representation.
yeah,
But they did the legwork.
I mean, I'm just, that's the. Might be worth just
Just asking.
asking and finding out
Okay,
what the thoughts are.
okay.
Sure, they won't be agreed. Yeah, it depends. I mean, this is just me talking out loud, but it just did depend on what are they looking to do in that 60 acres? And what's the
Dublin
potential?
wants 3 to an acre.
3 units?
3 units.
Are they, oh, so they want to do multifamily or single family or something
One
like
single
that?
family, 3 single family units to an acre. Which is why I don't understand when the group that bought the property. So what's 43 minus 16 is like 27 acres, the rail property.
Right,
So 27 acres times 3 units. And they bought it for $6 million.
yeah,
How you gonna make that?
yeah, this may be where. You know, we utilize Joe to run some numbers on this. It may be worth tapping into, you know, his deal, but I just. You know, again, you're looking at the process and everything like that, and then, you know, if Sharon's already done it, and we can kind of piggyback on theirs if they'd be willing, but yeah, I mean, I think we're just in the,
Well, let me reach out to Joe first.
okay,
Okay.
The next thing on my agenda is, as you know, we have, resolution in place for insurance proceeds due to fire loss. And, the latest fire in the township has been challenging. So, after speaking with Jen and, I've mentioned it to Chad as well, and John Petrosi, we're thinking that the best course of action moving forward is to have the attorney rewrite this resolution so that it states that the land just has to be back to being presentable. Versus a house having to be rebuilt. That's what's been pushing this off, and Jen thinks that it makes sense. I do too. The other piece of it is we want to look at putting some teeth in the resolution. Right now, it's just you have to go to court. We've discussed that there might be better options, like perhaps holding off on approvals of permits until the land's been brought back. It's for when somebody wants to build on it, if it's the same owner. Yeah, so I already spoke to the county a while back, and they would be very willing to not issue demolition permits here on out until they know that we have the monies in hand. So if it's okay with you folks, I'd like to Jen to draft something up with those type of changes, have to take a look at it and see what you.
But the county, this would help the county hold those permits at bay if they had the resolution in hand.
Right, that would
Yeah.
give them that opportunity, that puts more teeth in it
Yeah,
for them as well,
right.
so. But this is, especially now, this $1.2 million home is no longer the exception. We have homes just to the south of that are in the $1 million range, so this could come back again at another point in time, but the bottom line is that we've been working with this particular resident. It was left that they needed to put something in writing for the board to review, and we've never received that. And I think that would just eliminate these issues in the future. You all good with that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Just an update on our 365 and sync tool. We anticipate to be switched over to that by the end of the year for everybody. And then we can start getting rid of some of the servers and the maintenance on those servers. Ian and I went to the Franklin County Engineers and Franklin County Township Association meeting last Friday. One of the things that was brought up was H Bill 140, which makes some drastic changes into the text and language of levies. And it's been passed. So it's the new way of doing things. So we're gonna, the biggest thing that the speaker pushed was that it's going to have to require lots and lots and lots of education. I put her PowerPoint in Dropbox as well as an article that had been out on the OTA back in the fall. So I just wanted to kind of just throw that out there and let you all know that we've got to kind of start working on this early.
And our intent for the road levy is to have it on the November
Right, November 2023 ballot.
23 ballot.
Right.
And this makes it extremely confusing.
It is, and one of the things too is that the auditor's office at this stage in the game does not have the forms to even do the certifications. So it's gonna be interesting. But I just want to make sure everyone was aware of that. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Fiscal officer,
Request a motion to approve payroll and disbursements.
I'll make that motion. Second, vote,
Yes.
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 And then, Mr. Rupert, the document there, did you sign that? If you would, please. From the tech.
Police department,
Nothing at this time, this executive session.
I'll move to enter into executive session for Ohio Revised Code 121. To consider appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee by roll call vote.
Mr. English?
Yep.
Mr. Cheney?
Yeah.
Mr. Rupert?
Yes.
Good.
See you in a little bit, Steve.